Number 6. Little Albert Experiment. In 1920, John Watson decided that what psychology really needed was more traumatized babies. So naturally, he took a 9-month-old infant and systematically conditioned him to be afraid of basically everything. The experiment started innocently enough. Watson wanted to see if fears could be developed rather than innate. So he presented little Albert with various objects, including a white rat, a rabbit, and a dog. Albert showed no fear of any of these things. He's an ignorant infant after all. Then Watson decided to fix that by pairing the presentation of the white rat with loud, frightening noises. Every time Albert reached for the rat, Watson would bang a steel bar with a hammer right behind the baby's head. Because nothing says scientific progress like traumatizing an infant. After several sessions, Albert became terrified not just of the rat, but of anything white and fuzzy, including rabbits, dogs, cotton balls, and even Santa Claus beasts. The really twisted part is that Watson never actually deconditioned Albert. The experiment ended, and the baby was left with these phobias for life, because apparently following up on your test subjects wasn't considered important. Number 5. Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, Philip Zimbardo decided that what Stanford University really needed was its own personal Abu Ghraib. So, he set up a mock prison in the basement of the psychology and recruited college students to play prisoners and guards. The plan was to study the psychological effects of perceived power and authority for 2 weeks. But the experiment had to be shut down after just 6 days because the guards became so sadistic and the prisoners so traumatized that it stopped being an experiment and started being actual psychological torture. Meanwhile, Zimbardo himself got so caught up in his role as prison superintendent that he forgot he was supposed to be conducting an experiment, and instead started thinking of ways to make the prison more realistic. Everyone involved knew it was fake, yet they still descended into genuine cruelty and abuse within days, all for a little role-playing game. Number 4. MKUltra program. Between 1953 and 1973, the CIA decided that what America really needed was its own mind control program. So they launched MKUltra, a series of experiments designed to develop techniques for breaking down human consciousness and implanting new thoughts and behavior. The program involved over 150 separate experiments conducted at universities, hospitals, and prisons across the United States and Canada, often without the subject's knowledge or consent. The experiments included giving people massive doses of LSD, performing electroshock therapy, sensory deprivation, and something called psychic driving, which involved playing recorded messages to subjects for weeks at a time while they were in drug-induced comas. Many subjects suffered permanent brain damage, memory loss, and psychological trauma, while others died from the experiment. Mind control doesn't sound so nice now, does it? The CIA destroyed most of the records in 1973 when the program was exposed, so we'll never know the full extent of what they did or how many people were harmed. Number 3. Tuskegee Syphilis Study. Between 1932 and 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service told 399 African American men in rural Alabama that they were receiving free treatment for bad blood, a local term for syphilis. Except they weren't receiving treatment at all. Yep. Instead, researchers were studying the untreated progression of the disease to see how it would kill them. The men were never told they had syphilis, never given informed consent, and were actively prevented from receiving treatment, even after penicillin was discovered as a cure in the 1940s. The study continued for 40 years, during which time the men infected their wives, who infected their children, creating generations of suffering, all which could have been avoided pretty easily. The study only ended in 1972 when a whistleblower leaked the story to the press, causing a public outcry that led to new regulations for human experiment. Traitors are finally good for once. Number 2. Nazi medical experiments. I know you were waiting for them. During World War II, Nazi doctors conducted hundreds of experiments on concentration camp prisoners that were designed not to advance medical knowledge, but to satisfy sadistic curiosity and test the limits of human endurance. Dr. Josef Mengele alone conducted experiments on thousands of prisoners, including injecting dye into children's eyes to try to change their color, sewing twins together to create conjoined twins, and performing surgery without anesthesia just to see what would happen. It sounds stupid, yet it's totally real. Other horrifying experiments included freezing prisoners to study hypothermia, infecting them with diseases to test treatments, and sterilizing them through radiation exposure. A reminder that these experiments had no scientific value whatsoever, just pure sadism disguised as research. Go science! Number 1. David Reimer. Here's the final worthless experiment for this video. This experiment destroyed an entire family while trying to prove a point that was wrong from the beginning. In 1965, David Reimer was born a normal baby boy, but during a circumcision for his phimosis, a medical accident destroyed his penis. His parents consulted with psychologist John Money, who convinced them that gender was entirely learned rather than biological. Money persuaded them to have David surgically altered to appear female, raise him as a girl named Brenda, and never tell him the truth. And for years, he published papers claiming the experiment was a success, calling David his star case study. Except it wasn't a success at all. David never identified as female despite being raised as one. He was miserable, confused, and constantly felt like something was wrong. Money forced David and his twin brother to perform sexual acts during therapy sessions and subjected David to genital examinations and psychological manipulation throughout his childhood. When David finally learned the truth as a teenager, he immediately began living as male, but the damage was done. David eventually committed suicide, and their parents blamed themselves for trusting Money. The really twisted part is that Money continued to claim the experiment was successful even after David went public with his story, because apparently admitting he was wrong would have destroyed his career and reputation. Fits his name, don't you think?